Yeah, Balaji, this is Rucha here.
Yeah, Rucha.
So I would like to share my challenge. Like I have two teams. One team is of 18 members, other team is of 20 members. And moreover, these are not co-located. And we hardly get 2 to 3 hours time overlap. And in that, we need to do the plan for both the teams, because the release cycle is same for both the teams. They are working on the same product. And one more challenge is that the team is not self-organized. And if I try to coach them to be self-organized, the tech leads or other, seniors, they want me to, own the leadership of the team. And I need to take the follow-up of each and everything. So once I coach them, even then they will miss something. For example, there is no acceptance criteria written, or there is no description written in detail. So for such small things, they are not at all self-organized for such small things as well. And whenever I try to coach them, the seniors are like, okay, our team is like this, so we need a scrum master to take a follow-up on this. But I don't think so this is the right way of doing it, right?
Okay, so what is, see, I understand that this not co-located, not self-organized, Scrum Master is been expected to own the leadership of the team. All these things are okay. But what was that impact created now because of all these things? Impact means, okay, unable to meet the deadlines, which is an impact, or rather more production bugs. We had a quality issues. Those are the impact. These are all more of a symptoms, right? So symptoms should not be confused with the actual problem, right?
Yeah, so I could see there are more production bugs, and then there are more spillovers, because these guys are not splitting the stories. If they see that, okay, dev activity is not going to be completed within that sprint, dev and testing both activities, then they have to split it there and then, right? But they are not doing that. They are just picking it and it goes into the QA bucket, and then QA is not able to pull all those things because he is overloaded, and the story gets spilled over. And because of that, it affects on the burn down chart. Burn down chart is not visible because all the stories go and are stuck into the, like, maximum stories are stuck into the QA bucket. So releases are happening quite good, I would say. But in terms of velocity, it is getting affected, because all the stories, many stories, they are seen as completed late, and then that affects the velocity actually.
Okay, so before I share my perspective to this, does actually anyone wanted to answer this question, or you want to give a try?
Yes, Balaji, this is Vivek here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so initially I do had faced the same problem. Like we had a team of 19 members, and we are also having a co-located and all. So then what we did is like we divided the team into maximum 8 team members, in which all the team members, it used to be a technical leader, testing, and even backend engineer, the engineer so we have divided, like vertical slicing we had done and all. And then what we used to do is like we used to check each story points and all. So in order to make that like the story points, that whatever they used to take, we used to create a stories maximum with a 4 to 5 story points. So we work like that, and everything now it is okay. We are in a good shape, Balaji.
Okay, and here in this team, I could see that even the team is not coached related to story point estimation. So these guys are mostly, I see they are considering dev efforts only. They are not considering the other risk factors, or if the story gets stuck in approval cycles and all those things, they are not considering. So like, yeah, I can see that thing as well. And like when so I coached them related to story splitting, but like in that session, the tech lead itself, instead of making the team self-organized, they are saying like, oh, if you want to implement this, then then the scrum master has to take a follow-up. So this is a wrong impression actually. So they need to say that, okay, the developers have the freedom to split it, and so they know all the techniques and everything, and they have been given liberty. So wherever they see the risk, they need to split it. So that should be the approach, right?
Okay, so let me share my own perspectives to it. See, now this particular tracker itself, right? Whatever tracker which is in front of you, right? Why did I segregated it to some columns and rows? Because if I see, I can even might as well put it in a notepad. But if you put it in a notepad, the way you visualize it is something different. If I put it in a tracker with some headings like product side challenges, process challenges, team related challenges, stakeholder engagement challenges, which is one level of classification. Then I also put some color coding here, saying team, program, portfolio, leadership. And I have given green color here. If actually some other person gives me some other challenge, okay, let's say at a program layer, I will be taking the blue color and then I will appropriately put it under the column name. Now, why am I saying this is, even in terms of doing an improvement, you still need to prioritize the improvement and don't try to improve too many things at the same time. It will not work out. What is my way of looking at it? If there is, okay, let's say you are in the second sprint and your upcoming thing is a third sprint. Probably I may have a thought process. Okay, in the third sprint, I need to improve on 2 factors. In the fourth sprint, I need to improvement on 1 or 2 factors. Ideally speaking, if you are doing a retrospective properly, your retrospective inputs will be going as an ingredient to your case and backlog, or a continuous improvement backlog. Now, whenever you are doing capacity planning for the next iteration, right, you also need to factor some 5% or 10% of the capacity even to fix the problems, right? Because even to fix the problem, someone need to work on it. And from where does the capacity is going to come to us? Capacity is consumed within the team. So even for improvement items, whenever you are doing capacity planning for the next iteration, factor some time to take the problem and then handle it, which could be one thing. The other thing could be, no, it is again and again we are keep hearing self-organized. So my suggestion is for you to make a team self-organized, first make the team cross-functional. Once the team becomes cross-functional, automatically people have the tendency to become self-organized. So probably you may need to look into in terms of the competency needed. If you see, for example, though it is called as coaching, right? You may need to take training sessions. You means not you. You may need to facilitate arranging some training sessions with the management or with the client, saying that these are all the capabilities needed for the project, and these are all the present capabilities. And for us to plug the gap, we need to have training sessions. So self-organization will not come by itself, right? So we need to do if I build a cross-functional team, automatically the people will become self-organized. That could be one thing. The second element or aspect to this problem is you need to create a team charter working agreement. In the team charter working agreement, some kind of guideline should be there saying that if there is a defect, then probably the defect is the priority and we will be fixing it, and then we will shifting the priority needle to some other action items. And why the stories are getting carry forwarded, you need to do a root cause analysis. Whether is it due to dependencies, or you are having any blockers, or suddenly some kind of an ad hoc request come. So the team is not able to have a clarity which one to do now. So you need to do a root cause analysis, and then you need to try it out in 2 or 3 iterations, and then only you can take it forward. Maybe that is my perspective to it. Any suggestions or thoughts?
Balaji,
Yeah,
I am
thank
Babu
you, Balaji.
here.
That is absolutely, that is the right way of doing it. Thank you.
Okay, Balaji, I am Babu here.
Yes, Babu.
Okay, my perspective, in fact, what she's running out in that project, particularly it is working as a mini waterfall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Though it's an agile, because I see that she's commenting like the QA is getting blocked. That means the inputs to the QA is not going then and there. It's all getting piled up. As an agile process, like as you mentioned, like cross-functional, testing QA should do their work along with the development and get it tested by the time the user story is ready. So there is a correction needed on the mindset as well on the process for the converting from a mini waterfall to going to real agile. That's my perspective.
That is okay, but I actually understand to some extent the angle from which we are actually approaching that particular problem. But no, let us think practically. No, what happens in a waterfall model? We take a requirements, we do analysis, we do testing, and deployment. Now, even within a sprint or an iteration, is it not the same thing being done?
Yeah, right. It's the same thing.
Balaji, can I suggest you one thing?
Yeah.
Balaji, we should have there is no definition of ready. Okay, when she pointed out that acceptance criteria is not there, and then that is something which has to follow, right? You will have a definition of ready for a team to move it story from a product backlog to sprint log during the sprint planning. Okay, if it is not met, definitely that story should not get into the sprint. Okay, there itself you have an entry and exit criteria, isn't it? So there, if you stop there and then if you stop doing it, moving the stories into that, which is not meeting the definition of the teams, okay, then slowly, and then you cover it during the retrospective and why it is not happening, and then you following up on those action items, right? Definitely this problem will solve.
Okay. So, let me take a pause here. Let me actually try to tell you a couple of things. One thing why I actually interfered, at that point in time, we understand that mini waterfall mindset. But even that waterfall mentality, if you are executing it properly within a sprint, end to end, then why things go for failure? The problem happens in the industry if you are taking sprint 1 to do development, sprint 2 to do testing, sprint 3 to do deployment. That is an absolute no, right? For example, I have seen some companies in the past, they will only do development activities in the sprint 1, only do testing activities in the sprint 2. That is a kind of a more mapping to a mini waterfall. If you take waterfall process, the software developmental life cycle, and if you really do justice on all the activities within a sprint, then probably you are meeting the sprint level definition of done, may not be release level DOD. So as someone pointed, first we need to have clarity on the definition of a ready, saying that for me to pull this story from the product backlog into the iteration backlog, what are all the checks and balances? Now what happens, now we realize, see, the solution spans across multiple columns. The moment you talk about definition of ready, you are now talking something on the process mechanism. So okay. The point what I'm trying to say is, a problem could be one thing, but solution need not be only within that particular column. Sometimes it will come from the product space, sometimes from the communication management. So holistically, you may need to look into the solution from a system thinking point of view. So that is what I told. Don't try to do too many things within a sprint in the name of a improvement. It will not work out. Okay, let me tell you why. Myself and some of the people in this chat, right? We have been doing a performance testing long run. Okay, so long time ago. So at the time, what we used to do, no. If I actually tune the query, if I actually change the server setting, if I actually change the infrastructure simultaneously, then I cannot have clarity, hey, which part of the action item had contributed to what extent of the improvement in the performance. So what we used to do, we used to fix the code. We used to fix the code level bottleneck. Then we will run a performance test, and then we will see the improvement. Then we will go to server setting change. Then we will go to technical upgrade. If I do everything simultaneously, and then if I do a performance test, you cannot quantify which one contributed to the positivity. So it is always better that even if you want to improve something, prioritize the improvement and take few improvements in the iteration 1, iteration 2. Okay, so that there is a consistency in the flow. If not, what will happen? You will try to do every, see, the point is simple. You put your work in progress limit also on your improvement backlog. That's what I was actually trying to tell. Does that make relevance now?
Yes.
Okay, so we will park aside this. So because we now got some clarity how to get it done. Let us not spend more time on the same question. Any other questions?